Sandoval County 911. What is the exact location of your emergency?
We think we found a body out here. It's in a road, and somebody had put it on like a mattress or something and burned it. And it looks like it has bones in it, and you can see intestines and guts, and I don't know. That's weird.
This 911 call would lead police to a truly shocking scene.
Like it looks like it has lips and teeth in there.
Yeah, it's creepy.
It might be exactly what we think it is. So
Police identified the victim as Marilyn Gandert, but when they went to her house, they weren't ready for what they would find next.
This is the Albuquerque Police Department. Make your presence known. Make your presence known now.
Clear.
I already know what's happening.
Tell me what you think.
No.
She said, I'm too old. Will you please kill me?
It all started with a 911 call on January 28th, 2018 at 6:56 a.m. It came from 62-year-old Harry Gandert.
Albuquerque Police, how can I help you?
Yes, this is Harry Gandert. I'm at my sister's house, and she's not here. I haven't been able to get a hold of her, and she usually gets back to me because I call her every morning and night, and she has, and the phone has been offline.
Okay. And what's your sister's name?
Marilyn Gandert. Well, her vehicle's here, and that's how she travels. I mean, my note that I left yesterday is still in the door. I'm getting worried now.
Okay.
It's not a good day.
Marilyn Gandert, 65, had mysteriously disappeared from her home. As police began searching, they found some disturbing clues. Their first step was to question her brother, the one who made the 911 call.
I answer the door. Her phone is like it goes directly to voice messaging. I left a note there yesterday. It's still there.
Okay.
Her vehicle is here. Yeah, 'cause I'm really nervous.
Do you have a
She's
key?
got three. No, I don't. She doesn't have that many friends. She's like me, kind of solitary.
Okay.
But now my mind is going everywhere. But she got kidnapped.
I'm with you, sir.
Killed or I don't know.
Harry said that Marilyn lived alone and mostly kept to herself. Years ago, her husband had died, and not long after, her only son, Ryan Bickett, sadly took his own life. So when she stopped answering her phone, it wasn't just a missed call. It was a silent warning no one saw coming. When no clues turned up, her longtime friend from the post office, Nancy Robinson, started to worry.
Are you worried about Marilyn too?
Yeah.
I haven't get a hold of her for a couple of days, and it's just not like her.
No, it isn't.
So have you gone in? Did you have a key?
No, I don't have a key.
Do you have a key?
No.
No? Okay.
But the dogs are barking.
Marilyn disappearing without a word was a clear sign that something was very wrong. Police went straight to her home. As they looked around the property, they noticed things didn't seem right. No one answered the door. So they walked to the backyard to see if anything was out of place. They also checked the side of the garage, but the blinds were closed, blocking their view. Then they moved to the back of the house and found the front door wide open. It felt like a quiet, airy invitation, pushing them to go inside and investigate.
I'm gonna go inside, okay?
Why? You're my best friend.
I understand that, but there might be somebody in there. Come over here. I'm gonna wait for another officer. We're gonna go inside, and then we'll get everything taken. I just don't want you to be getting hurt, okay?
Residents, this is Albuquerque Police Department. Coming inside, you need to make your presence known. Now come to the front door with your hands open and empty. Do it now.
Ready? I'm gonna keep along the danger zone of the kitchen, and just kind of cover right side by side to the right. Stepping out. Clear. Cool. I think this is the garage in here. Alright.
Inside the house, police saw something unusual. Pill bottles and medical papers scattered around. There was no sign of Marilyn, and nothing looked out of place, except for one strange detail.
And the keys are on the door. A lot of weird stuff. Just seems abnormal.
An open door, a missing woman, and one chilling clue. The scene felt like it was hiding something dark. Soon, police turned their attention to another property Marilyn owned, a nearby house she had rented to her daughter-in-law, Alyssa. Nancy told them Alyssa had recently moved out, so they decided to check it out and see what they could find.
Hi.
Hi, can you come on out a second?
Yeah.
So, what's going on?
I'm moving out.
Okay, what's your name?
Alyssa.
Marilyn's daughter-in-law. Living with her were her 19-year-old son, Drake, and a friend named Annie Rail. When officers got to Alyssa's place, they found her in the middle of moving out.
And the owner knows you're here getting
Yeah,
your stuff?
she on Friday, she said come on Saturday morning and get the key.
Alyssa told police she had planned to get the keys from Merlin on Saturday morning, finish moving her things, and complete everything by Sunday. She even offered to show them text messages that might help. What the detectives didn't know was that this meeting could be the first step in uncovering a much darker truth. For now, though, everything seemed normal. They kept asking questions, trying to find out who last saw or spoke to Marilyn, but there were still no clues about where she was.
Can I see those texts?
I mean,
It just clears a few things up for us.
no, that's fine. I said I'm going to come by in about an hour for the keys. I don't have, like, the okay, because, but I told her when I am, and see, she wasn't answering me, but she doesn't always answer me.
So the last one you got from her
was at 10:35 on the 26th. That was the Friday.
Okay.
But she was here that day, and we were hanging out.
Do you know where she would be right now?
I honestly, I don't, and that's
Because somebody's trying to report her as missing. Because Marilyn is being entered as a missing person, they want us to do a walkthrough on this house.
Okay, that's fine. Perfectly fine. I have no problem.
I appreciate it, Alyssa. Just one, it's a box to check. Right, where are you moving to?
Well,
Oh, no.
This one?
I had it a little close, so I was trying to.
You're getting there.
I'm getting there. You can open that door if you want. That's a closet. She didn't come yesterday, and I expected her to come by, but I didn't think anything of it. I thought, she probably just,
Right.
sometimes she gets mad and won't even talk to me, and she's mad at me, and so, but she has been pretty cordial with me. I said, I'm just trying to get my stuff out.
Police now had a timeline from Alyssa, and it could be the key to solving the mystery. But as time passed, their worry grew. Would they find Merlin safe, or was it already too late? Her brother, best friend, and daughter-in-law, the three people closest to her, all had no clue where she was. Merlin had simply vanished without a trace.
The more time passes that this person is gone, it could also mean that more time passes that they could be injured, harmed, or pass away.
On the night of January 26th, 2018, a woman was driving home after work in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. But this wasn't just any regular night. This drive would leave a lasting impact. While on the road, she noticed something strangely laying ahead. A pile giving off smoke with faint orange glows that made it clear it had recently burned. The area was dark, so she kept going, but the sight stuck with her. The next morning, she returned with her husband to check it out in daylight. As they stepped out of the car for a closer look, what they saw left them shaken. Her husband immediately called the police to report the disturbing scene, and officers arrived quickly.
Like it looks like it has ribs and teeth in there. Okay, yeah. I don't know if it's real or.
Yeah, it's creepy.
It might be exactly what we think it is. So.
Lying there on a burned mattress was a body, charred, twisted, and barely recognizable as a human. Metal restraints were wrapped tightly around the wrists and ankles, as if someone had purposely locked the person in place. The right foot was gone, cleanly cut off at the ankle. The mouth hung open, frozen, and a silent scream.
That evening, we put out that we had discovered these remains and hoping that we would get tips from the public as far as missing persons. We probably received 50 phone calls, but the call from Nancy was very specific. Nancy was very concerned that her friend, who had been reported missing, was the deceased person. It would fit our timeline and gave me hope that this was actually the person that we had found. After autopsy, I contacted the Office of the Medical Investigator and provided them with the dentist of Miss Gandert. They were able to confirm that the decedent on the mattress was Marilyn Gandert.
By the next day, news of the body had reached Albuquerque. When it was confirmed to be Marilyn, the community was stunned.
Hi, are you Harry? Uh-huh. Hi, I'm Detective Apodaca. So I told you I was going to keep you up to date as to everything that's going on. The body that she suspected in Rio Rancho, the burned one, was positively identified as Marilyn.
Oh, God.
Why don't you have a seat, sir?
Yeah, sit down.
I am so sorry we have to come and bring you this news.
Harry, I'm so sorry.
She was my sister. I wish, I wish I could have been with her or something. It's too late. It's gone. Never hear her voice. I mean, she was just a wonderful person and a very wonderful sister, and I miss her every day of my life.
Marilyn was no longer just missing. She had been taken from her loved ones. Now, detectives were fully committed to uncovering who was behind this brutal crime.
She's the last person who would have thought anything like this would happen. That's the movies, or drug dealers or something like that. She's a regular person, a male person.
What was Marilyn's routine?
She was like me, solitary.
She liked to stay home?
By herself, yeah. She had just a few friends like Nancy.
Did she rarely leave the house?
Yeah, I can't think of what she would leave there. Oh, I think right now she was going with the process of eviction, getting things started with movie. Lisa lies all the time, and she would promise to pay the rent and didn't. And she just got tired this time, and I told her, well, maybe you should evict her.
What was her relationship like with Alyssa?
It was curt.
Were her and Alyssa close?
Frenemy?
More frenemies than...
Yeah.
Okay.
Police soon discovered that Marilyn and Alyssa had a strained relationship. They also learned that Alyssa wasn't moving out by choice. She had been evicted, something she hadn't told them before. This raised suspicions. Detectives knew they had a lot to untangle. Now, they weren't just focused on where Marilyn lived, but where she might have been killed. At first, they searched her home, but found no signs of a struggle or any blood. It became clear Marilyn hadn't been murdered there. With this new information, detectives shifted their focus to another property Marilyn owned.
I said I'm going to come by in about an hour for the keys. I don't have, the okay, but I told her when I am, and see, she wasn't answering me, but she doesn't always answer.
Detectives then turned their attention to Marilyn's grandson, Drake. After the eviction, he had moved into a hotel with his girlfriend, Nikki. And his first statement, Drake said the last time he saw his grandmother outside the house was when his mom and Annie were moving their things. He claimed,
"When's the last time you talked to your grandma?"
I would say 3 or 4 days ago. My grandmother was telling my mother that we were getting kicked out, so then I was helping her move out.
How did that make your mom feel?
Oh, she was pretty upset.
Yeah.
She was really upset.
Where's grandma?
She was not there yet. She had shown up later. We were moving stuff out, and then she had shown up. But then, the first time I saw my grandma, Annie and my mom and my grandma were there.
Drake was very nonchalant about things. He didn't know what was going on with his grandma. He's yawning. He's just waking up. He doesn't even seem to care.
Drake was just 19, so detectives initially brushed off his lack of awareness. But now they were prepared to tell him about his grandmother's death and closely watch how he reacted.
So, your grandma, we found her, but she's dead.
Where at?
Well, we believe that it's suspicious. Okay, we think someone killed her.
When?
And I'm really sorry.
Okay. How does that make you feel? That makes you feel sad. Very sad.
Drake's reaction felt off, almost like he was pretending. He insisted he hadn't noticed anything unusual and claimed that everyone seemed fine the last time he saw them. With a search warrant in hand, officers began a thorough search of Alyssa's house.
This is the Albuquerque Police Department. Make your presence known. Make your presence known now.
Okay, is there anybody else in the house? No. All right, step up on me. Okay. So this is the situation, okay? We actually have to secure the house.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get all my stuff out.
Okay. All right, so unfortunately, I can't let you go back inside.
I have things in there.
Unfortunately, I can't.
Detectives didn't uncover anything significant, but then they noticed a small drop of blood on the wall in the entryway. It was a subtle but chilling sign that something darker may have happened there. While the search continued, Alyssa found out that Marilyn's body had been discovered. Strangely, when police first spoke to her after Marilyn went missing, she never mentioned being evicted, only that she was moving out. This raised more red flags. To help confirm their suspicions, Nancy shared her insight. She said Marilyn had grown frustrated with Alyssa. After years of helping her, especially following Ryan's death, Marilyn had asked Alyssa to start paying rent. Alyssa refused. Marilyn had finally decided to sell the house, tired of the emotional and financial strain. When questioned, Alyssa claimed the eviction had been friendly and that she and Annie simply wanted to leave on good terms. But Marilyn's actions told a different story. She had changed the locks and only let Alyssa in when she was there. Police noticed her friend Annie pulling into the driveway.
What about her?
I don't know her. I don't know a whole lot.
Did you meet Marilyn at all last week?
Yeah, so she was here when we were
she
moving
was?
stuff.
Okay. Tell me what she was doing here.
She was in a vehicle. She was in and out of the house. She was nagging everybody, telling us like how to move out. And,
really?
And then she came at me and she said that, this is your fault. You know why they're getting evicted, right? Because of you. This is weird. Like,
I know.
I don't like.
Okay.
I already know what's happening.
Tell me what you think's happening.
No, I just don't like the way I'm being approached and questioned.
As police continued looking into everyone close to Marilyn, they received the autopsy report, and what it revealed was a message written in brutality and fire. Marilyn had been beaten and stabbed, but the horror didn't end there. After the murder, either the killer or an accomplice moved her body to Rio Rancho, placed it on a mattress on the road, and set it on fire. The attack was extreme. Marilyn had been soaked in gasoline before being burnt. Then the killer vanished into the night. The medical examiner found no signs of sexual assault, but ligature marks on her wrists and ankles showed she had likely been tied up before or during the murder. And Alyssa's interview wasn't over yet. There were still more details that would raise serious red flags.
I want to get my things out first.
Nobody can go back until the search warrant's completed. You gotta understand.
I know, but I want my clothes and I want to go to my hotel and I want to sleep. My back hurts. I'm tired of moving.
I understand. All right.
I just want my clothes, that's all. Because she said she goes to work on Monday.
Okay.
Okay. That she wanted to take the weekend. She's like, come over in the morning and get the keys.
So she's telling you to come over in the morning and get the keys from her. And that was the last time you spoke to her?
No.
Okay.
I went on Saturday morning to pick up the keys.
So you went over to...
Around 10 o'clock. And I just knock on the door, get the keys. She says, give them to me on Sunday. And that's all we said. That was it. Not even another word.
Alyssa's timeline didn't line up with the evidence, so detectives began pressing her on the inconsistencies. What made things even more suspicious was her claim that she last saw Marilyn on Saturday morning. But by then, Marilyn was already dead. Her story was starting to fall apart.
Your story's looking bad. That's
Try to make sure they're not too
that's
tight,
what's
okay?
going on. This officer's going to transport you there. You're going to meet with the detective, and we're going to sit down and have a chat, okay?
Step on it.
Following Alyssa and Annie's arrest, detectives also took Drake into custody for questioning. But this time, Drake said something that would completely change the course of the investigation.
I wrote a warrant for you for the homicide of your grandma. So I'm actually charging you with the homicide of your grandma.
Okay.
Okay? I've already had your mom, your mom's arrested.
Yeah.
And Annie is arrested.
Okay.
Okay? So I have enough probable cause to believe that you were involved in the homicide of your grandma.
How so? Oh yeah, you're the detective.
I am the detective.
I'm gonna tell you the honesty.
Okay.
My grandmother said, I'm too old. Will you please kill me? Multiple times, drunk and sober.
Okay.
That is honestly. That is honestly.
Drake's words revealed a disturbing attempt to justify the unthinkable. He told detectives that he had simply followed her wishes.
So you're saying that at some point your grandma asked you to kill her?
Yeah.
So do you remember that date? Okay.
I don't remember the date, but that's what she
Maybe
wanted.
not the actual date. I'm not asking you for the date, but can we go back to that date in your memory and tell me what happened?
I was there, and then she would be like depressed, you know?
Right.
And she for certain said that. I know she said that.
Okay.
So I
understand.
I passed her away. You know what I'm saying?
So how did you do it?
This was the moment investigators had been waiting for. The tense silence right before they expected a full confession about the brutal murder.
Just essentially, that's it. That's all the information without a lawyer or a public defender I'd like to share.
Drake shuts down and he asks for an attorney, and it almost is like a defeat again for me because I know there's more to this story and I can't get it anymore from Drake.
Drake's confession might have held a hint of truth. Instead of bringing clarity, his words only made detectives more suspicious. They began to wonder if Drake was taking the fall to protect his mother, Alyssa.
I knew in my heart I arrested the right people, but what bothered me was I did not know their exact role in the homicide. I wanted to know exactly who did what that evening.
Marilyn's murder wasn't the work of strangers. Drake's confession, backed by other evidence, confirmed that Alyssa, Drake, and Annie had all been involved. But Alyssa had her own version of the story, one that would add even more twists to an already shocking case.
So Marilyn, she's sitting in her car, and then she was coming in because she needed to use the restroom. But Drake is like, look at my mom, this is our house, can't we just stay here one more night in our own beds? And she said no. And so he was crying and he left out the back door. I stayed in my room, and at that point, I did hear Marilyn yell. And I went out there, and Annie is on her back. She's on the ground.
So Marilyn's on the ground,
Marilyn's on the ground, and Annie's got her knee in her back.
Oh, she has her knee in her back.
Mhm.
Okay. What is Annie doing to Marilyn?
Hitting Marilyn's face. And so I'm kind of panicking, but I'm mad, and I did hit Marilyn. I tied up her hands and legs, and I helped her put this bag over her head.
Do you remember what you did it with? What you tied her up with?
Yeah, it was like phone cords and stuff like that. Then there's other one that Annie gets, put it around her neck, and I hear it snap, but I don't know if it's the cord. I'm just like, I gotta go.
So you heard something snap, whether it was the cord or Marilyn's neck.
Right.
You're not sure.
Alyssa claimed that she had left Marilyn alone with Annie, and when she came back, she saw Annie wiping a bloody knife. In her version of events, Drake wasn't involved at all. He appeared only as a worried grandson, not part of the crime.
We ended up going into Rio Rancho. Then we unload the mattress, and I poured gasoline and I lit it on fire.
What did you assume had happened when you left?
Well, I would assume that she stabbed her or something.
Okay, so you don't see Drake at that point?
No, not at all in the house.
Okay.
It didn't quite ring true to me because, first of all, she's putting Drake out of the story. Annie really has no reason to stab Marilyn. Just out of the blue, they beat her up. She's unconscious. Why would Annie just stab Marilyn?
But police quickly spotted flaws in Alice's story. With the gaps and contradictions clearly exposed, they turned their attention to the third person.
So, and then when Drake got there, we all were in Alyssa's room getting high. That's pretty much when Alyssa, she had brought it up before about killing Marilyn. I still didn't think we were gonna do it. I thought she was joking. She just told me when she nods, because she would pretend that she was the Don, like the Godfather. She just told me when I nod, get her. And Marilyn was coming in. Drake was like, can you just let us stay? Look at my mom packing. She was like, no. Alyssa looked at me and Drake and nodded, and I looked at Drake, and he started walking behind Marilyn, and I got Marilyn and from behind and took her down.
Both Annie and Alyssa admitted that Annie was the first to lay hands on Marilyn. While parts of their stories matched, Alyssa never said the attack was planned. She made it seem like a sudden act in the heat of the moment. On top of that, she completely left out the fact that Drake was present during the incident.
Drake was on the side of me and Alyssa. She ran into the room and came out with a short little bat thing, and Drake got on top of her. I think I yelled at Alyssa to get something to cover her mouth. I had gotten another cord and put it around her neck to strangle her, and Drake pulled it with me and it broke, and then Drake grabbed my knife, and that's when he started stabbing her. I kept going at it a bunch of times and I yelled, and I grabbed the knife from him. He had already cut her throat.
Annie's version of events revealed an even more disturbing truth. Drake was not only present during the murder, but actively took part in it. According to her, he helped hold Marilyn down, beat her with a baseball bat, and finally slit her throat.
Annie is adamant that Drake's actually the one who stabbed Marilyn in the neck and in the throat. I do believe that she's being more truthful. I think that Alyssa, being a mom, is trying to protect her son from any involvement in this case.
As investigators put the pieces together, it became clear that this was a cold, calculated murder. Not a crime of passion, but a planned act. A family bound not by love, but by violence, working together in a desperate attempt to hide what they had done.
We believe that all three of these individuals did beat Marilyn, did kick Marilyn, punched Marilyn, choked Marilyn. They hit her with a souvenir bat. They wrapped plastic around her neck. They attempted to choke her to death and eventually stabbed her to death. They load Marilyn's dead body into a vehicle and drive Marilyn's body into the Rio Rancho area.
Drake's girlfriend, Nikki, also shared a chilling account. She told investigators that Alyssa and Annie had forced her to help get rid of Marilyn's body, threatening her with a knife and a gun. Nikki described seeing Marilyn face down and covered in blood before Alyssa wrapped her in a sheet, and placed her in Annie's pickup truck. Under threat, Nikki drove them to a remote spot
and watch Alyssa pour gasoline on her and set her on fire. And as they drove away, they could see her body burning in the rearview mirror.
To back up Nikki's statement, surveillance footage showed Annie's truck near the location where Marilyn's body was found. A search of the truck revealed even more damning evidence. Marilyn's blood, her purse, medications, and keys were all discovered in the truck bed. In May 2018, police arrested Alyssa for Marilyn's murder, and Annie was charged shortly after. Both Alyssa and her son Drake eventually confessed to their roles in Marilyn Gandert's death, pleading guilty to second-degree murder. In court, the horrifying details of the crime were laid bare. Facing eviction after refusing to pay rent, the Bicketts let their anger boil over into deadly violence. Along with Annie, they brutally ended Marilyn's life and dumped her body on a remote hillside. Annie, who had already admitted her involvement, agreed to testify against Alyssa and Drake. Through her attorney, she described how the crime unfolded.
Together, Alyssa Bickett, Drake Bickett, and Miss Rio attacked Miss Gandert. Together, as accomplices and co-conspirators, they beat and stabbed her, tied her arms and legs, and put a bag over her head.
As prosecutors got ready for trial, Marilyn's family decided to accept a plea deal, hoping to avoid the emotional toll of a long and painful courtroom battle. After careful consideration, the judge delivered the final verdict.
I don't think that, Drake's upbringing is going to excuse his behavior on this incident when he did to his grandmother.
Drake was sentenced to 26 years in prison. Alyssa received 30 years, and Annie, who had cooperated with the prosecution, was given 12 years. Though the case was closed, Marilyn's family was left to carry the weight of their loss and the heartbreaking violence that took her life.
Her grandson, her daughter-in-law, that doesn't make sense at all. Family members, you don't expect them to do things like that. That's the most shocking part, is that people that you know well can do the most heinous things. She cared about people and others, and me, I kind of isolated myself. She would be the only person I would pretty much talk to. I'm not going to be able to share anything with her anymore. Sometimes I wish I could see something or spirit or feel that she's right there. That's what I could do now, is to see her as she was when she was alive.
Our hearts go out to the family of Marilyn Gandert during this incredibly difficult time. We hope you found this video informative. Let us know in the comments which case you would like us to cover next. Share your thoughts as we read all your comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe for more true crime stories. Stay safe